Welcome to the Enriched Minds podcast, people. Happy Saturday. Hope everybody had a good week. It's been raining its ass off here in Los Angeles, California. And I know in the song it says, "It never rains." That was a lie this time. This episode, I want to talk about why racism still exists. I have to admit, I find it hard to understand why people can't comprehend why it still exists. I mean, I really shouldn't have to do an episode based on this, but I've been watching a lot of television lately. Things been happening in politics and then other entertainment news, like the Gucci Blackface thing. And people are saying in 2019, this still goes on. Well, I mean, racism never really left. It's like when you were a kid, or some of you adults, when you got to clean up your room, you just brush everything under the bed or just stuff it in the closet. It didn't ever really get cleaned up. It was just hidden very well. So why does racism still exist? There's a number of reasons. But people, racism exists all over this world. So this isn't just an American thing. It's a human thing. It's definitely linked to tribalism, where egos prevail and people feel like they're superior. Typically, the people with the most guns and the biggest guns tend to think that they're the boss. Just like the older sibling, the older brother or cousin, whoever babysat, whoever was the oldest and the biggest, they were the boss. What they said was law. Your opinion did not matter. So, racism pertaining to America, because I myself, for those who are listening, you can probably tell by my dialect, but I'm African American. That's racist to think he's a black guy because he talks black. It's not racist, people. It's just what it is. Anyway, in America, black people's had a very, very hard time. And a lot of people say, well, just get over it. But they never say that about the Jewish people. And matter of fact, the Holocaust happened in a whole nother country. Yet the American government paid them reparations. I just quite can't understand why, because Hitler is the one that did all the damage. In America, black people have been victims of white people. A lot of people want to limit this to slavery. But for a lot of you listeners that probably don't know, post-slavery, black people still didn't have rights. And black people didn't actually get civil rights until 1964. That's what the whole Martin Luther King thing was about, Malcolm X. For you youngsters that pretty much don't know much about history, or you are those that just don't know. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and all these guys, the reason why they're famous is because they were fighting for equality for black people. Because at that time, black people, although they were not slaves, still did not have equal rights. They attained these equal rights in 1964. Some of my friends were born in 1964. Some of your parents were born in 1964, and some of your grandparents, they're born before 1964. So this isn't that long ago, is the point that I'm trying to make. 55 years ago. That's pretty young. So, number one, when they say, oh, we're in 2019, I can't believe this and that. Those people that did not want black people to have civil rights, a lot of them people are still alive and they're still in Congress. They're still donors. They're still big corporate CEOs, owners, shareholders. Things of that matter. Their children are too. Their children that they taught their beliefs to. I want everyone to think about this. A lot of people believe in your religion, for those that have it. Not all of you, but a lot of you. You believe in that religion because your parents and your grandparents told you that's what religion is. A lot of people really don't know why they believe in the religion that they believe in other than what they're told. That's it. Now, if you're told black people are less than human, and you're a kid, you don't have any reason to believe that your parents would lie to you. So you're going to believe it. A lot of people still believe black people are inferior. Black people are not capable. That's just what it is, damn it. And why would it go anywhere? What would change someone's mind? And don't all of you speak at once, because I know everyone has an answer for that question. But we're going to equate this to a Trump supporter. No matter what Trump does, they're going to side with Trump. No matter what evidence comes out, there basically is no deal breaker. Unless Trump goes back on everything he says, his supporters are still going to follow him no matter what. And I'm saying that to say, they're closed-minded people. They believe what they believe, and nothing's going to change that. They don't want anything that's going to upset their thought processes. What they believe is what they believe, damn it. And I don't want to have a discussion that I might be wrong. And I know, yes, a lot of you are right that are screaming it out loud as ignorance. You're absolutely right. Due to a lot of ignorance, people's stance on race remains the same. 9/11 occurred. Horrible event for America. Bin Laden and Al-Qaeda took credit for the attack on the Twin Towers. All you conspiracy theorists, be quiet. I don't interrupt this. I hear you. You stay quiet. The attack was attributed to Muslims. Most Americans, they're the only Muslims that they could think of that would be responsible for the attack. Even though you have black Muslims living in this country, Nation of Islam, blah, blah, blah. Anyone with a turban on, because they associated the turban with the Muslim religion, they got attacked. A lot of Sikh Indians are still getting attacked to this day. It's ignorance. How could racism be eradicated when ignorance in America is at an all-time high? Especially the love of material. Most people, if they get what they want, they have no reason to learn anything else. So a lot of people, if they get money, they're not really going to go further their educational status because they already have money. They feel like, I only need to go to college for monetary reasons, not to broaden my mind and broaden my knowledge. Fuck, I'm going to do that for? There's no fun in that. Only reason I'm going to go through 4 years of strenuous book work is if I'm getting paid for it in the end. That's how Americans think. Not all, but a lot. Because I know a lot of you said, I don't do that. I know you don't. Everyone's not the same. Hence our discussion tonight. So, Ilhan Omar. She's the first, not only Muslim congressman, but she's a congresswoman. And she's fairly young. She's 37 years old. That's fairly young to me, damn it. But she's a Muslim. She wears a burqa, I think it is. She covers her hair. Can't see her hair. You can see her face, but not her hair. In West Virginia, the GOP-backed, I guess the people that are helping them win votes, they passed around posters linking her to 9/11. Why would they do such a thing? Because she's Muslim. Is that racist? Pretty much. Now, a lot of people are outraged. Oh my God, I denounced this. Our president backs it. Our president said Obama wasn't born in America because his name is Barack Obama. He's a terrorist, pretty much. He's an African. He's not born in America. He has no right to be president. They found all kind of ways to discredit Obama. Pretty much because of his race. They feel like no black man has the right to be to be in charge of the most powerful country on earth. How in the hell could you give that power to a black man? That's racism. Due to the civil rights movement, Martin Luther King, they did a lot of marching, a lot of protesting. And I'm saying Martin Luther King because he specifically used Gandhi's tactic and said he's doing nonviolent protests, peaceful protests. Well, white people in the South, they believed that the black people need to get in their place. And they attacked them. Police, the authorities, they attacked these people, beat them up, sick German shepherds on them, and sprayed them with fire hoses at close range. For no reason. Luckily for these guys, television at that time was worldwide. Other countries got to see what was happening to these black people. They put pressure on Washington, on Kennedy. Something had to happen. Something did happen. The Civil Rights Act passed. If it hadn't have been for that, black people would still, especially in the South, would be not equal. Now, it was forced, just like slavery, for God's sakes. There was a war. So slavery's, they say, hey, slavery ended a long time ago. Well, slavery ended after a war, not to end it. Well, guess what, people? The losers never changed their mind. They just no longer had the power to implement their plan on black people. But they never changed. And it's amazing how people think that just because slavery ended, the hatred for black people ended. And the hatred for other people of other races. Black people had it the worst. But it doesn't mean that no one else is going through it. So it never ended. It was a political move. People know this. Slavery ended because politically. The Civil Rights Act happened politically. Because had Martin Luther King and these guys not been on television, had it not been televised, we would probably still be in the same place. Well, guess what? When that ends, the opposers, their feelings never change. These opposers are not just some inadequate people. These opposers are lawyers, are lawmakers, judges, business owners. You think they're going to hire a black person? Black people couldn't even learn how to read, and then they called us stupid. So why would that stop racism? Number one. And I know a lot of people are screaming tribalism. I agree with that, and I'm going to get with that. The Virginia Democratic governor, picture surfaced of him in medical school in his yearbook in blackface, next to someone in the Ku Klux Klan outfit. They thought it was funny. Does that mean he's racist? I have no clue. He could have just been thinking that was funny, just like a lot of people think it's funny to dress up as Hitler for Halloween. It's not funny, it's offensive, and you're going to get beat up. And people are going to deem you racist. But the problem is this. If we say give him a pass, everybody else is going to come out in blackface who really means to demean black people, who really supports the Ku Klux Klan and neo-Nazis, kind of like our president. Now, a lot of you guys say, oh, no. You Trump supporters said, oh, no. The president didn't. Well, he said it was very fine people on both sides. That's like saying some of those Nazis were very fine people. And it's a shame that I have to bring Nazis and Jewish into the conversation to get a lot of you to understand. Because if I don't say that, then it doesn't really have that much of an impact. Because what the hell? Those black people deserved it. Just like a lot of the killing of the unarmed black men, he deserved it. Some kind of way, somehow, it was his fault. He deserved to die. Until it's your son, until it's your brother, until it's your father. Then, oh no, now something's changed. Because my father was a good guy. He didn't deserve that. Neither did a black man that didn't have a gun. But it's amazing. Why? I don't want to get off subject, but it's funny to me that black people are deemed more dangerous. Like, if a black guy comes to kick your ass, you're really going to get it. You might die. If a white guy comes to kick your ass, you'll survive that. But if a black guy comes, oh my God, it's the end of the world. Well, anyway, Trump said it was very fine people on both sides, the president of the United States of America. And a lot of people agree with him. This means racism has always been alive and well in this country. This is not a new frame of mind. Why would it go anywhere? Again, the people that opposed it are still alive. And I will assert this. The ex-attorney general, Trump's ex-attorney general, Jeff Sessions, he's from Selma, Alabama. And he's up there, probably in the 70s. He was 20-something when that march happened in Selma. Now, there were opposers and there were protesters. Which side do you think Jeff Sessions was on? Anyone that gives a damn, do your research. What side do you think Jeff Sessions was on when Martin Luther King and company did a march on Selma and got attacked brutally by the police for no reason? But all black people are deemed violent. The Black Panther movement. A lot of you guys are saying, oh, they're this and that. For those that are interested, Google COINTELPRO, all one word. Coin as a Bitcoin. COINTELPRO. And look up that program. And eventually it was more undercover FBI agents in the Black Panthers than there were real Black Panthers. Also, there were a lot of undercover agents in the KKK. But which one got dismantled? KKK never did. Come on now. You know that. You know the truth. Well, anyway, people believe in these things like Trump touts. Trump basically doesn't do anything about. Rich King, he said some pretty disparaging things. He was talking about white supremacy and how he supports it. Trump said, oh, I don't know enough about it to say anything. Trump never said anything. If you don't say anything, you're complicit, right? That's pretty much how it goes. So enough of white people. We're going to go to black people. Well, a black person. Jussie Smollett, the motherfucking liar. He lied and said he was attacked by racist Trump supporters. They told him it's MAGA country, bitch. After they kicked his ass, put a noose around his neck and splashed bleach on him. And a lot of people believe this story without thinking. Why would two white guys be walking around Chicago, the city, at negative 25-degree weather with a bottle of bleach? And I mean, listen, realistically, that bleach probably would have been frozen, right? Anyway, they're walking around with a bottle of bleach and a noose and MAGA hats on at 2 o'clock in the morning. I know it sounds so ridiculous, but this guy said he was a victim of a racial attack and also a hate crime because he was gay. People believe them because it's not far-fetched. Well, I mean, the bleach and the noose at 2 a.m. in negative 25-degree weather. He walked to get a Subway sandwich at 2 in the morning in negative 25-degree weather. The fucking onions are frozen. Come on, Jussie, and those who believe this guy. But it was believable that these hate crimes will occur because under Trump's watch, ever since he became president of the United States of America, hate crimes have went up 7,000% for those that don't know. And you can Google it. Hate crimes are skyrocketing under this current president. He makes racists feel like it's okay to come out of the closet now. A lot of things are happening blatantly because people say, well, our president is racist. It's okay for us to be now. We don't have to be racist in the closet anymore. And it's a gift and a curse because a lot of people are surprised to find out certain people were racist that they didn't believe was before. In my mind, there's one race, and that's the human race. I have friends that I care for dearly of all races, all nationalities, from all over the world. Some of them don't live in this country. They live, born and raised in other countries, and they'll come here certain months out of the year visiting. And some of them have been taught that there is a difference in races too. And I know that exists overseas. For instance, you have Palestine and Israel going through it, and so on and so forth. But due to tribalism, this will never go away. Racism can't be eradicated. It can't be exercised out of somebody. Why? Because a lot of people believe what they believe, and they're closed-minded. It's just like why you don't speak about politics and religion to most people, because you're going to get into a fight. And in some cases, you might get into a holy war. Well, people are closed-minded, and they don't want to be told they're wrong. You believe what you believe. I believe what I believe. Me personally, I respect that. Some people say, I don't respect you because you believe that. And this is why a lot of people wearing MAGA hats get beat up. Because if you're wearing a MAGA hat, a lot of people will not respect you, because that MAGA hat stands for a lot of hatred and a lot of division. This country is divided. And this country was built on division. If you think about it, think about Democrats and Republicans. These two groups are supposed to work together for the better of America, but they're opposing parties. So all they do is fight each other. Well, how are we going to get anything done? If you're the enemy, and I don't want you to win, but your win will help America, all of this is for the better of America. But I don't want you to win, though, because I want my party to have power. That sounds like a recipe for disaster, right? They literally named them red and blue. Blood for red, Crip for the blue. It's gangland in Congress, right? It makes no sense. Me personally, I believe a dictator is what it's going to take to fix everything. But who am I? I know a dictator could possibly be worse. He could possibly be like Hitler, and we're all fucked. But I just don't see what else we could do to fix this. But anyway, the definition of tribalism: the behavior and attitudes that stem from strong loyalty to one's own tribe or social group. You can pause this and rewind it if you need to hear it again, but I ain't going to repeat it. Anyway, when you just defend your social group or your tribe, for a lot of the Europeans is their tribe. They're going to go hard for the Europeans. They need to preserve their race. It blocks out humanity. And what I mean by that is America is a melting pot and always was. An American is a derivative of the past of what happened when the Spanish fought a lot of the Indians, and a lot of wars occurred. And a lot of white people just a mesh of something, and they call themselves American now, since they took over America, North America. But damn, a lot of blood got spilled in the meantime. And a lot of you patriots are saying, oh, well, we're here now and we're the greatest country in the world. But don't you think it's a lot of karma that has to get paid for that? And us as Americans have to pay it? Because now America, well, back then America was colorless. Anyone could come. And that's why it's funny, a lot of people that defend ICE, they don't see the problem with ICE. But the problem with ICE is they're going after Hispanic and African American groups. But what about white immigrants from Ireland, from Europe? They've overstayed their visas. They committed crimes in America. I have yet to hear about any of those groups being accosted by ICE and deported. Only the minority groups. That's the problem with ICE. We're all for not giving illegal immigrants a home here. But there are illegal immigrants of all races. They're white too, people. But you never hear about that on the news. You hear about some ocean of Latino immigrants coming from the South, and it doesn't exist. Some border crisis that doesn't exist. Even Trump admitted it. He said he didn't have to call for a national emergency, but he did it because he wanted to get the wall built faster. Well, if you didn't need to call for a national emergency, that means there was no national emergency. Come on, Trump supporters. That makes sense, because if Obama would have said it, you would have raised holy hell. Anyway, there are a lot of white immigrants that overstay their visas that commit crime in America. Look at the Italian gangs. Look at the mob. Number one, you got to be 100% Italian, right? A lot of those guys are immigrants. But ICE doesn't give a damn because they're white. They're not from a shithole country, right? But tribalism is the number one reason why racism is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. If you go to other countries, they have the same outlook on life. There's some minority group that is inferior to them. So the whole purpose of this podcast is this. Expect it, people. Expect the racism. Now, yeah, you're going to fight, but expect it. Now, what do I mean by that? A lot of people are saying, well, I'm giving mixed messages. You might not understand what I'm saying, but it's the same reason you lock your door. It's the same reason you lock your car door. You expect a burglar. Now, you hope you don't get hit by him, and you're prepared for him. That's why you got locks and keys and buttons and security. You have a password on your Wi-Fi because you expect someone to do something shady because it exists. A lot of you guys have passwords on your phone, the thumbprint, the eye fucking scanner, because you're bracing in case something does happen. Racism is going to happen, people. This shit is here to stay. Everybody's not going to accept you. Black people, Asian people, Latino people, Indian people, Middle Eastern people, and white people. But you guys get accepted the most everywhere you go. But for those minority groups that I named, expect racism. Now, you're definitely going to have to combat it. You're going to have to be clever. Because if you get violent, you're going to be deemed the bad guy. Can't be violent. And don't raise your voice too much. Because now you're going to be an angry immigrant or an angry minority. And your credibility is shot. Because you're damn near borderline violent. You don't have the right to be angry. You got to be like Gandhi. You got to be like Martin Luther King. You got to be peaceful. And that's just the reality of this thing, people. And I hope some of you guys that are listening, you study this on your own. Don't take my word for it. Study how we got here to 2019. And think about, a lot of you guys, you ought to put yourself in someone else's shoes. So when you hear about those Nazi camps and how they starved a lot of those Jewish people, tortured them, and you see the visuals from the Holocaust, people still memorialize that. But for some reason, slavery needs to be brushed under the rug. We need to push past that. We don't need to talk about that no more. Is it guilt? No one's accusing you. But just as like you're proud of your history, that's African American history in America. I'm sorry, it's not our fault. You guys aren't victims of, we're not attacking nobody. That's our history. Just like every year we celebrate Independence Day, because that's the history of America. But we have a history too, but we're not allowed to talk about it because it makes some people feel uncomfortable. Some people feel implicated. But that's our history, folks. My great-great-grandfather was a slave. That's just what it is. He didn't have an option. He had an option to die or listen. That's it. And all of you people that are talking about you don't eat this, you don't eat that, the slaves had to eat real life slops. And they made it. They lived. All that bullshit that everyone's talking about now, the slaves made it on a fucking bullshit diet. Some shit you wouldn't eat. And that's all I'm saying, folks. If you go around the world and eat bugs, we've been taught in this country bugs are nasty. We don't eat them. And when you see them, you want to kill it. You hate a bug. You hate roaches. You call the exterminator. Get them away from me. In other countries, they accept them. They eat them. That's a part of their cuisine, just like vegetables are to us. Or just like beef, fish, chicken, and turkey. It's an open mind. And due to a lack of an open mind, racism will always exist. That's that. I think I pretty much covered everything, people. If you have any comments, please reach out. And I'm not implicating anybody. I'm not attacking anybody. I hope anybody didn't perceive this like that. I'm just having a discussion on why racism is here to stay. It ain't going nowhere, folks. What you need to do is brace for it. Just like a thief, they're going to be here. That's why you have alarms on your homes. They come out with fancy stuff to ring. You can see people and talk to them through the speaker and tell them I'm calling the cops. It's the same thing. You must prepare for it, folks. Anyway, don't forget to like this video if you like it, or give me a thumbs down if you hate it. I don't mind it either. Give me some sort of comment on the YouTube page, on the SoundCloud page, or the iTunes page, or Podbean page. And follow and share. And let everybody else know why racism is here to stay. I'll holler at you guys later. Peace.